everybody. We are back, and today we're talking about NBA basketball because the Lakers are back. They're in the finals, and I am here today with Patrick. Patrick, say hi.
I hate everything.
He is a Celtics fan, so he is very salty today. We'll kind of do brief recap. We'll try to keep that as brief as possible of the conference finals, and then we'll jump into our predictions and kind of things of how we could see the finals playing out and keys to both sides, I guess you could say. So I'll go with the Western Conference since I watched all those games being a Lakers fan. It was kind of just how I predicted it. The Lakers, their two stars are just better than the Nuggets stars, and you could really tell. AD dominated Nikola Jokic. Jokic played very well, but they just didn't have enough to match the star power that the Lakers have. And with Caruso, KCP, Danny Green was a non-factor, but like with their role, their kind of second supporting cast was playing well enough. They were able to beat the Nuggets there. So yeah, it was what was the series? 4-1?
4-1.
Yeah, I almost blanked on what it was, but
What did you think about Game 2, the winner? Is the
the
series different if that doesn't go in?
the Anthony Davis game winner, I was so hyped when that game went. I jumped up and down and was running around my apartment. I don't think it changed too much. I think it gives the Nuggets a little bit more confidence because so they felt like they blew game two and then was it game three that they had won? Yeah. So
Yeah.
they felt like they should be up 2-1. But I think like once the Lakers turned it on, you could tell who was the better team, and it was the Lakers. So
Also, the Nuggets just a little bit out of steam.
yeah, they kind of
They have
fell
a
off.
pretty deep team, but I don't think anyone can withstand two straight sevens like that, especially when you play so many high-pressure games. That's 6 elimination games in a row they won until they lost.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
and
Lakers
Murray
just too
got
good.
hurt.
I don't think that'll be the story in this series. I don't think they can just win on their talent, their top end talent alone. They're going to have to rely a little bit on their bench, the Crusoes, the Danny Greens, and gasp the Kyle Kuzmas of the world. They have
Yeah,
to step up.
I agree. But quickly, kind of go over what you saw of the Celtics Heat real quick.
Um, it was something. So the first game was just very, very rough. It seemed like every time the Heat, I call them room service shots. They needed a three, they got it. And it looked very good for the Celtics. They're up 14 in the fourth quarter, and just pretty much when they went up, I think it was 85-71, the Heat turned it around and just changed the dynamic of the series. They were just always a better team. They were always kind of setting the parameters for what the games would be. And the one thing that jumps out to me the most with Miami is obviously just the shooting, but they make so many shots, so many threes, so many twos off of broken possessions or off of possessions where the Celtics just played incredible defense until 2 seconds, 1 second left on the shot clock, and Dragic or Robinson or Butler would bail them out with some incredible shot. They shot, I think, around 48 to like 50% on contested shots in that series, and I did not expect that. And then I think the real story, though, that being said, is just how good Bam Adebayo is for his second year. He should not be as good as he is. The passing, obviously the defense, how he moves his feet, and what I was just stunned by, the free throw shooting as well. He just doesn't miss from the line. And his ability to shoot that little floater, that like 12-footer,
Yeah,
is so tough on Tice, Grant Williams. They just did not have an answer for him because he could do just a little bit of everything, and he's smart enough to utilize it in the right way. And yeah, he was just an absolute terror. I think obviously Davis is going to be a better matchup than Daniel Tice, I would hope.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, get ready for Adebayo. He is a lot.
Yeah, so that'll kind of transition us to the NBA Finals. So, like I said, Lakers are back. I was so hyped that they
It only
made it.
took LeBron and Anthony
Yeah,
Davis.
it only took two of the top five players, but they are back. So my looking at it from a Lakers perspective, my biggest takeaways or my biggest I guess keys to the game would be first and foremost, LeBron and AD have to show up. I know we talked about briefly like the supporting cast of the Lakers played really well against the Nuggets, but our supporting cast is not nearly as good as the Nuggets or as the Heat. So because of that, LeBron and AD, they have to be the first and second best players in the series. They have to. Otherwise, I think the Heat with their players, they could cause some problems. To the kind of more shallow Lakers. My next takeaway would be their depth. Is I think the Lakers with their depth, if they can continue to, I guess, keep up like they did with the Nuggets and kind of keep even, then their bench unit just needs to keep even, and if they can do that against the Heat, that should be fine. Um, Patrick, are you back?
Kind of.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
I can hear
Patrick.
you.
Patrick cut out there. But yeah, so basically, I don't know if you heard the second point, but short story short, I know I said our like top two, LeBron and AD, got to play well, but our bench has to stay even like they did with the Nuggets, or our auxiliary guys. Otherwise, the Heat's bench players and the Heat's role players could really run it up on them. So that's my second point. Then the third one for the Lakers is they need to be able to rebound it. Like AD needs to be a factor, like rebounding the ball. Like I think in the last two games against the Nuggets, he had like two total rebounds in both of them. So that's a
He just
huge
camped
question.
out at the mid-range three-point line. I didn't really watch much of that
He
series.
he didn't. He just like LeBron was getting a lot of them. Like there was other guys grabbing the boards, but the Heat with Bam Adebayo, with Jimmy Butler, with guys who go after Jay Crowder, guys who go after the rebounds, especially offensively. AD and just the supporting cast has got to be able to rebound the ball. Otherwise, like you said, if you give the Heat second and third chances at shots, they're gonna make them. So you got to limit them to one possession. That's kind of I guess my three keys to the game. Lakers stars have got to play well. Their supporting cast has got to stay even. They don't need to be lights out, but they got
It
to
just like
be,
tread water.
yeah, they got to tread water. They can't just be getting run up, and just run all over. And then third is rebounding is going to be huge because if you, like you said, if you give Heat second and third chances, they're going to kill you. So we got to keep them off the boards. They're not actually like that lethal of like an offensive rebounding team. But with AD only getting two rebounds, in the last series, it's a bit concerning. So that would be my thing is you just can't give them second and third chances. So now I guess on to the Heat. You'll kind of give the Heat what would be your, I guess, top three keys to the game if the Heat were to pull out? Because I know a lot of people are in favor of the Lakers, but if the Heat were to pull it out, what would you need them to see or do?
I think the biggest thing for me is you just got to get those Lakers guards, Rondo, KCP, Danny Green, good players, old players though. The one thing the Heat are, I think, the best side of the league at is making guards chase and run and just never stop. You cannot take your eyes off like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Dragic, even Crowder in some instances. They will run dribble handoffs, little step-up screens, anything. Just they never stop moving. Even off of like passes, they'll pass it, keep moving. They're gonna have to tire those guys out. And if this gets to like 5, 6, and 7, I think you can expect a really tired Alex Trusso, a really tired, Rondo, KCP. Like those shots probably will be clinking from outside, and it'll be a lot more of like LeBron taking it in on two guys. And when those two guys are like Butler and Adebayo, that could be a problem for them. So
Yeah.
make them run. You have to be. I think they're going to be the more conditioned team. You're going to have to use that to the highest advantage. The top heaviness of the Lakers is just too much if you can't do that. And then Adebayo, I think he made a leap in the conference finals. I think he has to make another one. It's Anthony Davis. This is
Yeah.
big time. Like
Yeah,
this
we saw
is
Anthony
this is
Davis
the
kind
fight
of
of your
work
life. I
Jokic.
don't know if you don't really know if you get back here and you're facing the stiffest competition you'll probably ever face. He has to show up. He has to be really sharp. Offensively, defensively, just make him work, throw him off, anything. The block he had on Tatum in game 1, you're going to need to see more of that. And the third one, I guess it's weird because you don't really talk about Jimmy Buckets all that much. He's
Yeah.
kind of just stabilizing everything for them and making sure. So like usually when the Celtics would go on a run or something, it would he'd call for a back down on like Walker or whoever's the smallest guy in the court, make a mid range and just stabilize things. He needs to be that guy for them. He's not gonna be. Look, he might go off every once in a while, but he's not going to be the primary scorer. It's going to be on Los Blancos
Yeah.
to do most of the offensive damage, just how good of shooters they are. He's just going to have to be that stabilizing force, do everything well, passing, shooting, defense. The occasional like hawk for a dunk on the other end. He needs to get more of those than he did in the Celtics series, even though he did pretty well off-ball defense. Yeah, so that's pretty much where it is. It's crazy because the Lakers, the first thing you said is the stars. They got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Heat stars are kind of secondary to just tire them out.
Yeah.
Get them in a long series and tire them out with just how much you run, how many screens you set. I think that's the number one thing with Miami.
Yeah, we kind of saw that because Jimmy Butler and the Heat, they're comfortable with Jimmy Butler, just averaging a smooth 20, a solid. I mean, that's great. That's great numbers, but they don't need Jimmy Butler to be that guy to drop 30 and 40 a night. They don't need it. It's not like the Nuggets with
that's
Jamal
exactly
Murray.
what you want.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler being able to lock in on defense and lock in on facilitating. Like if he scores second, it's because he doesn't have to score.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
that's going to make the Heat. That's something I underestimated. Just that made them lethal on offense.
And I think that's what we saw with the Nuggets is they relied so heavily on Jamal Murray, and Jokic was a little bit secondary, but really Jamal Murray, and he just got burnt out. And I think that is the plus for the Heat, and that's what scares me about them is Jimmy Butler is somehow just another guy, and he's a 20-point per game, 4 assists. Like he's a great player, and he's just another guy.
There's just
on the
so
Heat.
many guys that are around like 15 to 20 points for that team.
Yeah, exactly.
It works super well for them. I don't know. It's gonna be a very tough series for them because just you're playing the Goliaths. There's no one like this in any team they faced, and they got to face two of them. It's going to be really hard. I think every logical thing points to the Lakers winning.
To the Lakers, yeah.
This is the logical season.
I compare this series a little bit to the Mavericks versus Heat, that finals matchup. Kind of almost like the Heat are kind of like the underdog that people are given no chance. They don't really have a star. I know the Mavericks, they had Nowitzki, but the way that team was built, it was similar to Jimmy Butler. They didn't need Nowitzki to drop 40 a game. He was a great player, but at the same sense, he was just another guy on the team. And that team aspect of it ended up beating the big three, LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. I think the Heat need to kind of take a page out of that book, out of the Mavs book, and just stick to what's worked, because a lot of people, they just assume team basketball can't necessarily win, and you need stars, which has been the case for most of NBA history. But every now and then, it can get a team. Like if you have a bunch of good players, eventually you can sneak out a couple of games, and you could potentially sneak out a series. So I'm worried about the Heat. I was saying this to you. I wanted the Celtics to win. I was less worried personally about the Celtics than I was about the Heat, and it's for that reason. The Celtics, like we'll touch on this. Well, we'll kind of go into this briefly, but the Celtics, I wasn't too worried because AD, his matchup was exponentially better than Bam Adebayo if he was going against Grant Williams or whoever it was.
Don't you dare talk about it like that.
Yeah, so I was personally more scared of the Heat, and now we got the Heat, and I don't know. I'm worried because, like you said, if they run us up and down the court, we don't have the guys. Lakers only play 7 or 8, I guess, if you count the occasional minutes, JaVale and Dwight. Dwight and JaVale I kind of count as one, as one bench player. So like the Lakers personally only, in my opinion, go like 7, I guess you could say 8 deep. The Heat go 10. They go 9, 10.
I would say
games.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Kendrick Nunn, they took him out very early. It was just clear that he wasn't going to be
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
that
So
machine for them.
so we'll say
So
8 or 9. They
I
go
would
8 or 9.
also think he's not ready for this series either.
Yeah. So but still they like you said they're the youth, they're the young team. So I guess we'll kind of go into predictions. We'll start with you just so my bias. I can have some time to think about my Lakers bias.
Damn, so it's so compelling. I want so badly to take Miami. I think it doesn't make sense, but all things considered, makes sense that they'd be able to do it. They're also, they structured their team better. Maybe there's some, cosmic reward for that, for drafting and developing your guys and having like a really good coach. But it's too much. It's too much. There's no one like LeBron. There's no one that's been like LeBron for 20 years in the league since Jordan. And he's had a year to rest. He didn't make the playoffs last time. He was injured in like January. He has so much energy. He is killing it. That last game where he closes NL versus the Nuggets, just looking unstoppable, hitting anything he wanted, just taking like fadeaway 25 footers because why not?
Yeah.
Um, I think you see more of that. I think this is like a kind of a coronation moment for LeBron. He's going to be the first ever to win with 3 different teams. Davis, of course, is going to be Anthony Davis.
So you're going Lakers.
I say Lakers in 6.
That's exact. I went Lakers 4-2 as well. I think, like I kind of said in my 3 points, I think the star power, LeBron, AD is just going to be too much. I think the Lakers win it 4-2, and it could kind of be like a Nuggets series where the Nuggets were competitive in a lot of the games, but just down the stretch towards the end, the Lakers were just the better team just because of their stars. I think it could be a similar situation, but I don't know. I'm worried. I'm definitely as a Lakers fan, I'm
Well,
very
yeah, I mean,
worried.
you should be. They're really, really damn good.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
underestimate. It's weird because they like gentlemen sweep Milwaukee, and then I'm like, yeah, we got this. This is easy.
yeah. And then they,
It's like the Bucks were like 40 games over.
yeah. I know it's
Exposed to them.
so
Like,
yeah.
we
So
got.
that's that's it. We both have the Lakers 4-2. I don't know. I don't know. I'm worried. I cannot wait till tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday, so the first game one will be Wednesday. So we'll see. I'm very excited, but let
Oh
let
yeah,
us know what you
lose
guys
the
think.
TV for this. I mean, these are 2 incredible teams. I think it's going to be a better finals than last year and a much better finals than the LeBron versus the world of the past, 2.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you have it. It could truly go either way. I know Heat in 6 or Lakers in 6.
Doesn't sound like it, but
It
yeah,
could
I would.
easily go 7.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Heat could easily win. I don't think the Heat win anywhere else in Game 7 though. I don't think you're gonna win 4 or 6 against LeBron, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes Game 7, but ultimately, I think the Lakers. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know your series prediction as well. Who you think will win the finals? It better be the Lakers. Let me know why it's the Lakers, basically. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.